Hello folks, Phil Gallagher of ThrabenU here for another legacy video. Today we were given an idea. So Fee L sent me an idea and said, hey, I would like to see a deck built around Paradox Zone. I'll show you the exact text in a minute, but essentially it's a 5-mana green enchantment that makes a creature at each one of your end steps, and they continuously get larger and larger. So I was kind of tasked with how do I brew a deck around a 5-mana green enchantment? And my mind went a couple of different directions. I could use mana dorks to ramp them out. I could use soul lands to ramp them out. Or I could play a slow blue, like cantrip control deck and use this as my win condition in the place of something like Jace that might normally be sort of your expensive finisher. And kind of in thinking about where the format is at, I opted to go with a blue control deck. And this kind of led me to what I currently have on screen. So let's start with the Paradox Zone itself. So this enters the battle with a single growth counter on it. At your end step, you double the number of growth counters on it, and then you create a green and blue fractal creature with a number of +1/+1 counters on it, where X is the number of growth counters on Paradox Zone. So you play it, it has one growth counter. At your end step, you make a 2/2. The next turn, it's a 4/4. And then the next turn is an 8/8, a 16/16, and so on and so forth. So it gets big very, very quickly. But you need to A, make it to 5 mana, B, survive a few turns after that. So I wanted to play a deck that was highly interactive. And kind of the reason I didn't go like towards a mono green stompy route, or maybe like sort of a Maverick-esque, like maybe 8 hierarchs sort of build, was that I was worried about not having enough interaction and then dying before this card could take over the game. So what I've done is I've taken the Dark Bant deck that one of my podcast co-hosts, Bosch and Roll, recently played on his channel. I think the original deck that I'm basing this off of was built by Pokimoki. And I took this shell, I kind of stripped the finishers from it and replaced it with Paradox Zone, and I made a few other kind of tiny tweaks to the deck as well. So what we're going to look to do is play a game that's similar to some of these 4-color expressive iteration piles, except instead of expressive iteration, we are going to be working with Witherbloom command. So you get to choose 2 of these 4 modes. Mill 3 and then return a land from your graveyard to your hand. Destroy a non-creature, non-land permanent with CMC 2 or less. Target creature gets -3, -1, or you can drain 2. So a lot of times you're going to mill yourself, get a land back, and nuke a permanent. But if you're playing against something like, say, Death and Taxes, you might destroy 2 permanents with this card. So this gives you similar levels of value to an expressive iteration, and it can do some cool things like fill your graveyard quickly for something like an Uro or a Life from the Loam. The mana base here is a little greedy in that, like, we are a 4-color deck, so we are not afforded the luxury of basics, but we are kind of playing a Life from the Loam to kind of compensate for that fact. We are playing some Wastelands, and we are playing a lot of colored pips, so from time to time, I will not actually be able to cast all of my spells. That's something that I'm kind of accepting, but I'm hoping that between, like, cantrips and the relatively high land count, that this will be fine. This is a 23 land blue cantrip deck, which is a lot. There's a lot of fun singleton stuff in the sideboard, but I guess before I talk about that, I want to talk about one thing. So I've kept 2 copies of Dress Down in this deck. And at first glance, you might think this is a Nombo, right? Because, like, we're using tokens for our win conditions. So if we play a Dress Down, like, I'll get rid of my tokens. Here's the thing, though. Let's say I get rid of my 8/8 token with a Dress Down. Oh, darn. I'll just make a 16/16 for free without any further mana investment next turn, right? Not actually all that big of a deal. Whereas I think keeping up with the value of something like Urza's Saga is a big deal. The sideboard has a bunch of singletons. I've kind of snuck the 4th Paradox Zone in there because, like, why wouldn't I? And then we have a couple of alternative win conditions in Jace the Mind Sculptor and kind of the lockout potential of Narset as well. I do want to read one card which just absolutely savaged me recently, which is Seeds of Innocent. It's destroy all artifacts that can't be regenerated. The controller of each of these artifacts gains life equal to its mana value. And this will absolutely savage some of these Urza's Saga decks. I'm really excited to see this Paradox Zone card in action. It seems like the sort of thing that's really good, and I want to see if this has what it takes. For those of you not overly familiar with this original Dark Bant deck list, there would have been things like Jace the Mind Sculptors and Teferis in some of these slots where I currently have the Paradox Zones. We'll see whether we would have rather have had those bounce effects or whether these Paradox Zones are going to be just the finisher I'm looking for. If you're new here, consider subscribing to see sweet deck lists all the time, and if you're a regular, throw me a like before we get started. It's the easiest way to support my content for free. Let's battle. Okay, so here's what I mean about playing a 4-color mana base, right? So like we have 2 lands, we have 2 of our colors, I have the ability to cast 2 of my spells, I have another thing that as long as I get 1 more land will be great, and if I get another land, this will also be great. I think I keep this. This is a hand that the Ponder hopefully kind of stitches together. I am also, I believe, on the draw here. Okay, Trop. Ooh. Into Glistener. Oh, there's the art. The art has appeared. I'm going to play Karakas on turn 1 and probably just try to remove this. There's a world where I try to play around Daze here. There's also a world where I play Tundra so that if I top deck a black source, I can play Baleful Strix on 2. So it's like, do I play around Wasteland, which is sometimes a one-off for crop rotation? I think being able to potentially play that Baleful Strix early is too important. And it's possible I'm playing this like a non-blue player here, and I should just like expect that my opponent won't just go for it immediately and try to play around the days. There we go. I don't know, but I have like the out of hitting a land for Strix, or I have the out of like Ponder into a Swords to Plowshares effect. I think if that was a instant speed piece of interaction, I would have just played it, or I would have just passed the turn. Okay, there's a Brainstorm. How do I feel about that? I think I'd die if I Brainstorm lock myself. I'm just going to cast a Ponder. See if it gets dazed. It does not. Force of Will is cool, but I think I just really need to hit land drops here. I'm going to take the Shuffle. That's fantastic. That can dig for a Force of Will in sort of the worst case scenarios here. I wonder if we're going to be playing against the version with Phyrexian Crusader that has been going around. Phyrexian Crusader dodges like Lightning Bolt, Swords to Plowshares, Prismatic Ending, Teferi Bounce. It dodges so much stuff. It is hard to kill. All right, you've got your land. Now, how nervous are you going to make me? That qualifies as nervous, but that doesn't qualify as like I need to Brainstorm or I'm dead. Kicked Vines? Kicked Vines. Okay. So this qualifies as I need to Brainstorm or I'm dead. I will die to a second Daze here. Or I can just die to this as is. That's fine. I'll just put 2 random lands back. This becomes a 9/9. Endurance doesn't get to stay on the battlefield if I evoke it. I mean, I guess I can see if my opponent just accidentally clicks through their attack step, but I think if they're playing Infect, they have figured out the red zone. So they got me on turn 3. Would have turned the game around after this. Like, Witherbloom command would have been pretty disgusting there. Baleful Strix would have been fine. All right. What do I have for interaction? Witherbloom command is fine. This is sacrifice a creature with flying. It is an instant. That's something that can bully an Inkmoth Nexus. I might end up playing that. Let's put it in the maybe pile over here. Plague Engineers on Phyrexian is absolutely stupid. At the Exile is fine. Mystical Dispute is acceptable. Jace is acceptable. What don't I want from my main deck? Most of my cards are pretty good. If I want to play a Jace, I probably trim 1 Paradox Zone. Jace is just a turn faster and interacts versus creatures, and that's super relevant in a combo matchup. Alternatively, I can just like jam the Carpet of Flowers because it's Carpet of Flowers and it's very strong. I guess it's also not crazy to board in another Force of Negation. I think Force of Will is noticeably better. Maybe I don't play Endurance. Endurance can hop in front of creatures, which is cool. Yeah, I don't know. I have to take my cuts somewhere. Let's see. Oh, this is still 62 if I bring in all of these. Maybe the run of foul is too narrow. I definitely want these 4 cards, so I boarded out. Oh, I also boarded in Jace. I've boarded out 4. I'll go down 1 Uro. I want to keep the life from the loam because I have wastelands that I can recur. Okay, this has a Force of Will and a Plague Engineer. This is fine. Not going to claim it's the most exciting thing in the world, but it's absolutely fine. Plague Engineer is just, like, such an absolute beating. I don't think I just, like, easily toss back a hand that has one. I'm also probably not just going to, like, fetch immediately into a potential stifle. I also just really like having Force of Will to back up the Plague Engineer that I know I have next turn. Yeah, do your thing. Because getting a Plague Engineer into play protected is going to be worth a lot. Do I want to Brainstorm? I probably filter into a new blue card. But I'm good with every single card that's in my hand right now. Alright, yet another land. Let's play this one. Do I grab Tropical Island here, I guess? Let's attempt the Plague Engineer, which is disgusting. That's a Daze. Here's a Force. That's the concession. All right, good sideboard card is good. And now we just have to win one on the play here. Or sorry, on the draw here. Carpet becomes a little more appealing as catch-up here. Maybe my life from the loam is slow on the draw. Yeah, maybe that's slow on the draw. I'll play a Carpet on the draw to help me, like, try to take back the play, so to speak. Yeah. Almost a perfect hand. Mana just doesn't work here. I don't have a real cantrip. I'm gonna ship that. Yep. My life total is not super relevant here. I'm just gonna pitch the non-fetch land and give myself the greatest degree of flexibility. Your Hierarch is fine. I'm going to try to use this Force of Will to protect a Plague Engineer, although I might have to use it for other purposes, depending on how scary my opponent's turn 3 looks. Ooh. Qualifies as scary for sure. A Blighted Agent. That is, I believe, going to resolve. Like, I have my way that I want to attempt to answer that. Just... Oh, okay. Well, I don't quite want all this land. I'll take it, but I don't want this much. So my hope is that I do not have to fire off the Force of Will this turn. Okay. So my opponent is just going to make the 1 attack for Exalted-based reasons. That's fine. All right. Your Invigorate is fine. That's 6 damage. Your second Invigorate would bring that up to 10. That is not fine. I think I'm going to take my fetches now. I think I want to fetch 2 times before Force of Will is on the stack. Grab an Underground Sea. Grab something with white mana. I guess I can just grab Savannah and have access to all my colors. Although that doesn't bluff, like, all the things I want it to. I'll just grab Tundra. Alright. Actually, yeah, no. Let's fire it off. I've played around Spell Pierce. I've played around Double Daze. Flusterstorm beats me. And honestly, a single Daze really beats me, because, like, if this resolves, I just go to my turn, play this Plague Engineer, I get dazed, and I'm in a super bad position after that. Okay. Ah, shit, it's Flusterstorm. Yeah. So this goes to a 10-10, and I do die. Yeah, those are all going to Force of Will. Nope. Alright. GG's. I did what I could do. Say lovey. Like, we had, like, the turn 3 combo kill, so to speak, and my opponent got us on turn 3 when they were on the play. No hard feelings. GG's. Alright, I've kept my opening hand here. I have a pretty decent mix of lands and spells. I don't exactly know what I want with Ponder. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to cast it here accordingly. I could just, like, generically try to grab something like a Force of Will early on here, that wouldn't just be bad, generally speaking. Do I want another land? Sure. I'll take that. It's not an overly impressive ponder where it just like fixes some problem that I have, but it just kind of lets me know what's coming in the future and what I have to care about. Like, I know I get to hit my next couple of land drops. I don't know what exactly to think of this polluted delta. Like, am I supposed to just like go with my normal heuristic and pretend that it's gonna be Doomsday? If this is potential combo, I don't know that I just want to draw another land. I think I'm just going to fetch a black source out of my deck and play Strix here. That Underground Sea? That's Underground Sea. Alright. I haven't played a Baleful Strix in a hot minute. It's been a little while. Oh, yeah, like Force of Negation is absolutely the sort of thing that I'm looking for here. Absolutely. Okay, we're on Tropical Island. Exploration. We might be playing against some blue-ish land variant. Sure, you can have that. Like, there could be Field of the Dead level shenanigans that come later, but I don't know that I'm willing to trade 2 cards for this when I might hit something more critical like a Life from the Loam a little bit later. Okay, or this turn. I'll absolutely Force Negation that. Probably pitching my dress down. Yeah, I think I'll do that. Alright, yep, just straight to the Shadow Realm with you. Swords of Plowshares is okay. Let's ponder. Burrow Brainstorm? Yeah, this is fine. I'll not shuffle my library. Let's play the Flooded Strand and crash in for 1. I have finishers available to me, so I'm not super worried about that. Okay, so that's indicative of Urza's Saga. That's fine. I think I do kind of want a fresh draw here. I don't like super need Swords to Plowshares right now. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and bin those and fetch a land here. Grab a Tundra. Have all my colors represented now. Oh, and Caracas. So I can play Uro and just bounce it repeatedly, if that's something I want to do. Not sure that it is. I think I just want to like play Uro this turn and stick Paradox Zone next turn. Let's give a little owl poke here. Little Baleful Strix action. I'll play Caracas. So I can make this choice about whether or not I want to bounce it after playing this card. Endurance is a great draw. Totally happy with that. I'll let it go to the yard. That's fine. Because now, if things get weird, I have Endurance and I can like pitch a Paradox Zone to it. I don't think I'm going to end up in that situation, but like I will have the ability to do so. Yeah, sure. Yeah, your Retrofitter Foundry is fine. That is not going to outclass Paradox Zone. It is not going to outclass Uro. Definitely good with this situation as it stands now. Sure. Yep, I think I'm just going to go ahead and take my attack in for a lofty 1 point of damage. Drop my opponent's life total ever so slightly. I'll leave my Caracas open. There's worlds where it could become relevant. I have blue, I have green, I have blue. Let's just grab a tropical island, I guess. And we will now enter the Paradox Zone. Alright, so end step happens. I'll yield to that. We have made a 2/2. Alright. So they're going to fetch and then just make a 1/1 with Retrofitter Foundry. I very much have inevitability right now. I cannot overstate enough how much inevitability I have. Oh man, I was just getting ready. I was just getting going. All right, so we're playing against some sort of blue Urza Saga mid-range land recursion-y deck. So what do I want here? I will probably just play another Paradox Zone. My opponent conceded to it the first time. Might as well run that back. I will probably play a Surgical Extraction. I just want to have another answer to Life from the Loam, and that probably means that this comes in as well. I'm less sure about what I don't want. Like, Witherbloom command is kind of cool in that it fills the abrupt decay role of taking out some small permanents like an exploration that I might care about. But I guess Prismatic Ending also does that. If I'm getting my card advantage from other places, I don't necessarily have to do this. Like, I have stuff that I want to play. Like, maybe happy boarding in the Seeds of Innocence, because I know my opponent is playing Urza's Saga. I'm happy playing Carpet. I'm happy playing another Paradox Zone. That means that I still have plenty of cards to cut. I don't know, maybe I can trim on... I don't know, like, my opponent probably has Uro, right? I guess I have, like, Caracas, Prismatic Ending. Not super confident on some of my numbers for sideboarding here. Like, boarding in the Jace is also reasonable. Maybe I can go down on, like, some Force of Will effects. Force of Negation very specifically sends stuff to exile, so I think it's better. It's also hard castable. What does it look like if I cut my Force of Wills? I'm at 59. I could play the Jace or the Narset in addition. I like the Narset a lot. Maybe I'll go down one Source of Plowshares and play a Jace as well. My hand doesn't particularly, like, do anything here, so to speak, but, like, I have 3 lands, I have 4 spells. This is probably fine for a blue deck that has plenty of cantripping cards in it that I'll draw into. I also just have a relatively high land density in the first place. Yeah, see, there we go. I'll play Tundra and pass. I was really surprised when I looked at some of the initial iterations of the Dark Bant deck list that there weren't more copies of Graveyard Hate things in the sideboard, and then I remembered that Endurance is a hell of a drug. Okay, yep, that's all fine. There's basically very few circumstances in which I would be willing to fire off just like a Brainstorm right now. Like, my cards are reasonable, but a Brainstorm with a fetch land can help me adapt to situations much better, especially if my opponent does something weird like floops a Planeswalker into play that I have to, like, answer and maybe want to protect while doing it. I don't know. I'm just going to play the fetch land and pass. There's a pretty good chance that I end up Brainstorming on my opponent's end step, but not guaranteed by any means. Sure. I just want to just answer this forever. I don't think I mind just answering this forever and just, like, not thinking about this card ever again. So I could just play Endurance on my own turn and nuke it that way. Yeah, I'm good with that. Oh, that was one of the very specific instances where, like, my math changes. I don't have basics. So now I really do need to just take this thing off the table. I am going to Swords that. Yeah. It's good. So they'll go to 28. All right. Okay, well, it is nice to be playing this many lands. It's sad that I want to get to 5 right now because my opponent has, like, multiple wastelands, but this does mean that I don't have to just outright expose a land to wasteland immediately. I can just guaranteed wait until I get 1 land deeper into my mana before I have to pull the trigger on a spell. A spell that, like, exposes me to wasteland. Okay, an exploration. That is occurring. That's something that I can answer with Prismatic Ending if I have to. Ooh, okay. That's a lot. Okay, so Sylvan Library is the thing that I'm now answering with Prismatic Ending. I feel pretty confident about that. I think I'm going to go ahead and set up a Brainstorm here. I'll play out my own Caracas. That'll give me white, so these can give me other colors. I'll turn one of these green. I'll turn one of these black. Just make it like an Underground Sea. Why did I do that? Why did I double fetch? That's not what I wanted to do. Yeah, that was really stupid. So I was supposed to Brainstorm in the middle there. Shit. Alright. Obviously not happy with that. I think I'll sit on this Brainstorm then and just kind of, like, accept my mistake. I don't think this is a time where I want to lean further into the mistake that I've made. I think I'll go Prismatic Ending this for 2 colors and just take out that Sylvan Library and kind of hope that my opponent doesn't have anything else that's just insane here. I'm not super well equipped to deal with a Haymaker currently. I can deal with that Haymaker. Yeah, that can resolve. More annoying for me, actually, if my opponent actually just, like, starts bouncing with Caracas. If they do that, I'll, like, do an end-step Brainstorm sort of thing. Okay, so they're going to take out my Caracas, which means that I am free to just Endurance that away. I'm good with that. Since I have 2 brainstorms, I'm just going to fire one off here, just purely for the sake of turning one of these into a non-brainstorm card. I don't really want a dress down right now. Though I don't actually hate having it. Actually, now that I think about it. I'll leave it on top of my library and just like not fetch it away. Alright, so I'm going to go Greenland, just straight up cast and endurance. And I'm just going to do it now as to like not open up like something like a brainstorm from my opponent. Like brainstorm into a force of will effect or something. Alright. The graveyard is clear. I am absolutely fine with that. I am trending towards resolving a paradox zone. And I think if that happens, I am just going to win. I don't think my opponent's deck has 5 colors of mana in it to do the thing. And just like get rid of and like a prismatic zone via something like a prismatic ending. And it'll absolutely outpace something like a Jace. Okay, that's a life from the loam. I exiled the wastelands, which is really good for me. Oh, there's something else? What are you waiting to pay costs on? Okay, fetching. For Tundra. Oh, okay. They're thinking about casting a Ponder and then didn't. Or didn't immediately, rather. And no shuffle there. Okay, I think I just want... Anna's a little weird here. I'm gonna go ahead and fire this off. Narset. I like Narset. Force of Negation for Loam is interesting. Cards are quite good. I think I'm gonna get rid of Dress Down Ponder. Batch. Grab a white source. I guess that'll be a Tundra. And play this Narset. Okay, it's in play. I'll just minus it. Okay, I have picked up Seeds of Innocence. Not super what I'm looking for, but it is what it is. I have Force of Negation pitching Baleful Strix for this exact situation where my opponent ends up dredging a life from the loam and I need to exile it. Unfortunately, them dredging a second life from the loam is super awkward for me. That means like Wasteland Recursion is imminent. I guess I can find another Endurance. Yeah, that does not get to happen. Absolutely saying no to that. All I need to do is hit this land drop. Yes, that is basically the same thing. Let's minus Narset. My own life from the loam? Hell yeah. I'll take that. I'll play Carpet of Flowers. In the second main phase here, I'm going to add some green mana. I'm going to add 6 green mana. That is going to give me a Paradox Zone. I will then cast a Life from the Loam. I'll grab Caracas Tundra and a fetch land. I do that for the low price of 1 mana. And I'll, I guess, play out the Caracas immediately. Doesn't matter too much, because this is a sorcery. And now Paradox Zone is going to obliterate this match very quickly. There's my 2/2. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. So I'm not going to dredge life from the loam. My opponent did. Yeah, like, you can attack my mana. I'll make my land drops. Sure. Like, I think I outvalue something like a Field of the Dead. Nope. I will just draw. No to Carpet. Play a land drop. Send in for 2. Say no to Carpet again, I just don't need it. And I'll take my 4/4. Yeah, so I think my opponent kept their lands in play. They've got something they're playing for. Like, they could be, like, double wastelanding me every turn. I guess I can triple this turn. They can just go, like, wasteland me, exploration back, yada, 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 yada. I don't know. I just don't know how they beat Paradox Zone. I just don't know that they have outs to it. Yeah, that's the concession. My opponent conceded twice to Paradox Zone immediately. All right, round 3, I've kept my opening hand. It's pretty reasonable. Polluted Delta almost certainly ends up getting a Tundra, so that I can play Baleful Strix for blue-black on turn 2 and still have access to these 2 cards in my hand. Urza's Saga. That's getting wastelanded. Yep. Just absolutely no thoughts about it. Just say no to Urza Saga. Mountain. Okay. If my opponent is on a Blood Moon deck, that's not great for me. But or no, they're playing Urza Saga, so they're probably not doing that. Only mad lads like me do that. Only villains do that. The reason why is that the Blood Moon effects end up killing your Urza's Saga, which is no good. My opponent's probably playing something like Painter, in which case having access to like a Source of Plowshares and a Prismatic Ending is pretty good. I think Painter is an insanely good deck, just by the way, as an aside. Stop it! Card's good. Okay. This is also okay, but I don't really have the fodder for it right now. Well, I'm not super worried about just immediately being dead to an Urza Saga, so that's good news. I assume that I'm just going to need to get 2 tropical islands in a row here as I do this thing. Alright, come on, Uro. Alright, it has resolved. I'll grab an extra land here. Sacrifice that. I don't think I want to just, like, fire off a Brainstorm for no reason. This is my Force of Will fodder for if my opponent plays a Painter. Not that I need to, like, necessarily counter Painter when it's on the stack, because I can, like, Swords and Prismatic Ending and stuff, but I need to have backup one way or another. Okay, that feels like confirmation of Painter to me. Not 100%, like, it could be some other red artifact-based deck or something, but yeah, that's fine. I'll hit that with removal. Polluted Delta does not fetch Savannah, notably here. I can fetch Tundra, but then I can't Uro. I guess I'm 1 card short of Uroing anyway. I don't know, maybe I want a Prismatic Ending Welder so that I can Source to Plowshare as a token. I don't know. I could just, like, fetch, Brainstorm, play Uro. Can't be that bad. Let's grab a Trop. Let's do this. Kind of see where my options are at. A Dress Down would be a pretty fucking sick draw, honestly. Alright, I don't mind this stuff. How quickly do I play this? I think I'm gonna end up taking all of this stuff. I think I'm good with this. I'm gonna play this, do the Uro thing, which is going to require all of the cards from my graveyard. I'm fine redrawing the Paradox Zone. Then I will just fetch, grab Tundra. Is that better than Savannah? Probably about similar. I will Prismatic Ending this Goblin Welder and just take that out of the picture. And now I attack. Probably attack. Anyway, now I still have Force of Will for a Painter, because I know my opponent can get a Grindstone in a way that can't be countered. And we'll see. Like, there's other things it could be other than just that, though. Alright, yep. So the world where I'm scared is where my opponent, like, also has a Blast. Okay. Yep. So I will go ahead and force you here. If you have Red Elemental Blast, I'm a little bit scared. Okay. That occurs. Now, my opponent has made their land drop already, so they do not have the 3 mana necessary to just activate this and kill me. This means that I can just, like, attack in with Uro, make my land drop, Swords of Plowshares, this Painter, and be pretty safe. Not 100% safe, but pretty safe. Let's ship in. Go ahead and play that. Alright, my opponent goes to 9. Just before messing with everything else, let's just make sure that this happens. Do you resolve? Alright, you do resolve. Cool. Now, do I tap out for the Paradox Zone? I don't think so. Let's get a card deeper in my deck and work on trying to find another Swords to Plowshares. I think I will just fire off this Brainstorm immediately. I know what I am looking for. Ooh, Witherbloom. Witherbloom Command is a sorcery. I can destroy the Grindstone. Like, destroy the Grindstone Train 2 is pretty good. They'll hold up Swords to Plowshares. Yeah. I'm good with that. So I put my land in with Uro earlier, which means that I can just go ahead and do this. So I'll grab, like, Underground Sea Tropical Island here. That'll be totally fine. Okay. Oh, so much text. Destroy target non-creature, non-land permanent. And drain 2. Destroy Grindstone, drain 2. Green and black. Fantastic. So now I have Painter for something like a Welder. I have 8 power in play. My opponent's at 8. How do I draw it up like this? How do I draw it up like this? I'm not going to just fire off this card immediately, though. I don't think I have to. Oh, what else do you have? Pyroblast on the Uro. That's fine. It comes back. Now I'm pretty sure that I'm just going to end up taking this out. And I might end up, like, drawing something big on my turn, like, after playing an Uro. There's another Uro. I think I'll just take this one back. Green, green, blue, blue, and kind of leave up my best split of colors. Alright, Uro's back. Not put a land onto the battlefield. Alright, so this Uro in between the 2 Baleful Strix is the one that's important. Okay, I will keep this one. And I'll just go ahead and get 3 more life. Put a land into play. Crash in for 2. So my opponent goes to 7. They're dead in 2 turns to this stuff. And the Baleful Strix, yeah, okay, good stuff. Alright, let's get this Seeds of Innocence in here. I love that. I love Witherbloom Command. I love Hydroblast. I love Path to Exile. Force Negation's okay. Plague Engineer's not crazy. Like, putting it on Goblin just answers all of the Goblin Welders, just like, period, full stop. Jace is okay for Urza Saga tokens, but I kind of need something else to help defend it, too. I just have, like, a reasonable mix of cards here. Do I want to be playing the Force of Will game? Like, I know they're a combo deck, but I kind of want to be destroying their permanents. Some of my answers, like Witherbloom Command, are sorcery speed, though. I can probably go down on Baleful Strix, probably not eliminate it. Like, maybe I go down a Strix, down a Paradox Zone. I don't know, it does kind of feel like Force of Will is not great. Like, my opponent has Rebs, so, like, these 2-for-1 blue spells are going to feel pretty bad in a lot of scenarios. What does it look like if I end up cutting a lot of this stuff? I can do this. I just run Mystical Dispute, I just want the Jace to bounce crap out of play, or do I just call this good? I want a few just generic answers. I still have 3 Force of Wills in addition to just the giant pile of removal that I have. This seems fine. It's also possible, in fact probable, that I'm supposed to cut some Paradox Zones, but damn it, we need to make Paradox Zone screenshots for Twitter. I have the Seeds of Innocence. That's the good news. The bad news is I'm just, like, way too mana light here. There's, like, a good Phil, bad Phil scene going on in my head internally where I'm like, Phil, you have 22 lands remaining in your deck, plus 8 1-mana cantrips. A lot of hits. And then you make every other land drop because you have Life from the Loam, you have Force of Will pitching an Uro for a broken thing to start things off. Yeah, I think I'm still just going to ship it. This is a more reasonable opening hand. I'm going to keep this, and now I have to, like, decide what to pitch. I don't think I want the Karakas with this hand. Like, Karakas Uro is cute and all, but I don't think I'm going to go that route. I think I just want to have, like, the answer to a turn 1 threat and the just generic answer to a couple of Urza Saga construct tokens. Yep, that occurs. I don't really want this second dress down. I'm very happy about the first one, though. Well, you know what? Like, if my opponent doesn't do anything too threatening... I also probably should have just played Tundra. Why is my Swords to Plowshares blacked out like that? All right, so you remember all that talk I was saying about Urza's Saga and not being a Blood Moon deck because you were, you know, fuck. Uh, just, just confirm, right? Literal zero basics, literal zero basics. I have no ability to take that off the table. Yep, okay. All right, good game. Good game. We'll try again in game 3. So now I know about Blood Moon. Yeah. Okay. That a one of? How many moons are over there? That's a lot of tension on my sideboarding plan. And the good news is, if I can play something like a Paradox Zone, that will be quite difficult to take off the table if I do get Blood Mooned, and it will spiral a game out of control. Oh god. I care about more or less everything that's in my deck in some way. I'm going to put one more answer to a Blood Moon in here. I'll play one more Force of Will as something that can hit Painter pieces as well as Blood Moon. Alright, this is almost really good. Like, Life from the Lone Wasteland is quite good against what my opponent is doing, but I don't have the green mana. I'm gonna mulligan. This hand is pretty reasonable. I'll probably pitch Endurance here. Goodbye. I'm a little unsure if I'm actually supposed to cast this Ponder. I think I want to keep it for Force of Will. Like, I know that I am stone cold dead to a Blood Moon from my opponent's deck with no recourse. Like, I would be more comfortable casting the Ponder later. I think I'm just going to go land pass. Like, it's pretty likely that I end up with another blue card, but not 100% likely. Alright, Witherbloom Command can't do anything about that, right? Non-creature, non-land. Yeah. Okay. I'll Ponder now that I have a Force of Will to pitch to 1. This first one can just get a Trop. See what we're looking at. Dress Down. Dress Down is fantastic. I like all of these cards. I think I'm going to put the Dress Down in the middle, draw the Tropical Island right now, and just play that second Tropical Island. Like, in the face of my opponent's Urza Saga, I'm quite sure that I do want the ability to answer that thing, because my opponent's very likely to just play an Ancient Tomb out here. Alright, there's Flooded Strand. I'll pass the turn. My opponent will make their Construct at the end step. I am going to have to fetch, I think, in response to this trigger. I don't want to get this Flooded Strand randomly Pithing Needled. So I have to make a choice on color here. I get access to either black or white. I guess since I have the Witherbloom command, I will specifically choose black. Grab Underground Sea. Yep. Ooh, a Lotus Petal, sure. Okay. So let's go ahead and Dress Down. Fantastic. Oh. Not a bad draw. That can sit in play, that's fine. Sacrifice my Dress Down. Ooh. Do I just immediately cast this, or do I try to get more value out of it? It's a 2-for-1 currently. I think I can get more value out of that. I think I want to just Witherbloom command here. So I'm going to mill 3, and then I'm going to destroy Grindstone. This is going to allow me to make my land drop here. So I'll just like play my Flooded Strand, pass. I'll have a Force of Will available. If I hit my land drop, I can slam Paradox Zone. If I don't hit my land drop, I can play Uro and kind of like milk that for a few turns. Karn? Nope. Oh, yep, it is Karn. Do I care about Uro or the other Force of Will more? If I draw a land, I don't care about Uro. If I don't draw a land, I do care about Uro. I'm going to keep the Uro. Alright, goodbye Karn. Alright, there's my 5th land. I'll go land, fetch, pick up a white source here. Tundra. All hail the mighty Paradox Zone. Alright, and I'll take my 2/2. I have Seeds of Innocence for an X-for-1. Oh, beautiful. Yeah, this will end up outclassing my opponent's Urza Saga. Yeah, that's fine. So this card, sacrifice an artifact, play top card. Sure. Oh my gosh. I'm going to get so much value out of this Seeds of Innocence. What do I do here in terms of progressing the game? Like, do I just brainstorm first, then play Uro? I don't think I need to take out this stuff my opponent has immediately. I guess I'll play the Uro first and get deeper that way. Drop white. White is just spot removal, which I don't want to cast right now. Sure. I'll take my life. No land. Sacrifice that. Do I fire off a brainstorm? I would cast a ponder if I drew one. Sure. Do it. A swords to plowshares. I can't cast it immediately. I don't mind having it. Guess I'll hide the seeds on top of my deck. Alright. Play Bayou. I'll pass the turn. I will get a 4/4. So then probably on my next turn, I just cast Seeds of Innocence, swing in for half my opponent's life total. Oh, yeah, now it's going to get a Great Furnace too. This might be approaching the point where I just, like, take the amount of value that I'm given. Although, like, the longer I sit on this, like, the more I'm favored, right? Because I'll get 2 more constructs plus 1 other card out of my opponent's deck. Okay. Sure. Yeah. But maybe I just go ahead and play Uro here. I guess the other thing to think about is a Blood Moon. If my opponent draws a Blood Moon, I have to win with what's in play. Oh, kind of interesting. My opponent's Ensnaring Bridge would beat me if they drew Blood Moon. I just couldn't answer it. I brainstorm first before playing Uro. I think I brainstorm first before playing Uro. Just try to sculpt a plan. It's another Uro. Okay. Just put that and a land back. I'll fetch and look at a fresh card if I play Uro. Green, 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 blue, blue. I just want a blue source. Grab another Tundra. I'm playing Seeds of Innocence chicken and I don't like it. Alright, let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Done. Okay. My arrow's resolved. Press down. Okay. Alright, so I have lethal attacks next turn. So I need to just, like, not get Blood Mooned this turn. And then I just play Seeds of Innocence, get a, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like a 7 for 1 or something like that, and swing for lethal. Okay, opponent is going for mana. Okay, they've picked up a Grindstone. They have an Ichor Wellspring, that's fine. Okay. Alright, they're going to sacrifice the Ichor Wellspring, and they can play the top card of their deck, which is a Karn the Great Creator. That does not seem to matter to me. Okay, there's another Ancient Tomb. Your Karn can resolve. Kill minus. Yep, as expected. Getting another Ensnaring Bridge. Oh my gosh, this Seeds of Innocence value is so disgusting. Oh my gosh. I honestly feel a little dirty here. Alright, do the thing. Green, green, and 1? Hey folks, if you've made it this far in the video, you're probably enjoying my content. Please consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel if you aren't already subscribed. You know what they say, a subscriber a day keeps the mimics away. Alright, round 4 here. I'm on just 1 land. I don't know that I love this hand. I think I'm just going to mulligan and try to hit a hand with more land drops. This technically qualifies. My mana's a little awkward. I'm going to keep this. Maybe pitch the Witherbloom command. It's going to be pretty hard to cast that early and Baleful Strix early. I think I'm going to get to pick one of the two. Although, honestly, like, the Witherbloom command can become another land drop to help smooth out my mana. But Baleful Strix pitches to force. I think that's going to be my tiebreaker here. See if we get an indication for what my opponent is playing quickly. Elves. Okay. How am I going to play this game? I'm going to Prismatic Ending that card. I will just do that off of Caracas. So the reason why I hesitated was because Allosaurus Shepherd is an asshole, to be blunt. So you want to use your counter spells somewhat early on before they just become completely invalidated by other things. That's not bad. Taking them off black isn't super relevant. Whereas this is taking them off a body for like Cavernous Souls and whatnot. Or not Cavernous Souls, Gaia's Cradle. Sure. Okay. I'm kind of scared because this like means something like a natural order is potentially just chilling in my opponent's hand. Do I want to ponder immediately? I think I do. I'm going to grab a Trop here. I'm going to ponder looking for Swords to Plowshares specifically. Hot damn. Yeah, I'm good with this. Put Endurance on bottom. Say no to that. I kind of want... Oh, just outright stuck, huh? Opponent's hand is like... they could be setting up for a Glimpse turn, to be fair, I guess. Do I just want to play Strix? Do I just want to play Strix and get deeper? Or do I want to wasteland them? My opponent fetches Dryad Arbor and then goes for like land drop natural order. I already have that beat on multiple different axes. Probably okay to just play Strix. So I will do so. And I'll draw my card. I know it's the Endurance. I just want to get through that. So if my opponent just fetches Dryad Arbor, I have 1 mana Sinkhole here. Hello, 1 mana Sinkhole. Nice. So now I will fire off a Force of Will at something like a Green Sun that hits play. Or a Glimpse. Okay, that's a Shepherd. Okay, that's just the turn. Oh my god, what a draw. I think I will go ahead. I'll just wasteland my opponent's active mana here. I don't think these colors really matter for game 1 scenarios. I think I'm comfortable just passing the turn. My opponent's not going to attack. I don't know. Maybe if I'm going to end up Swords to Plowsharing, no matter what, I'm just like missing a damage here. Okay. End of turn, I'm just going to put another piece of clock into play. Do I want to put this Dryad Arbor back in my opponent's deck? I don't know that I really need to. I'm just going to click nothing here. Okay. Here's my land drop. Guess I just attack with both now. I have the better clock here. Opponent goes to 16. There's a Glimpse. We'll cast Swords to Plowshares on Allosaurus Shepherd, turning on my counter spells. And then I'll go ahead and take this counter here. Yep, your Elvis Mystic is totally fine. Alright. Not the biggest fan of just like having another land here. Because natural order could get weird if that's my opponent's last card. They now have 4 mana plus a creature. Okay. This is great for me. My opponent's not holding back for another Glimpse. I'll take 1 here. Which is fine. There's an argument to fetch to thin. I don't think I'm going to do that. Nice. This just probably means that I crash in for 4. Like, I am still in the beatdown roll. Then I'll just kind of hold this. Right, I guess? Maybe this one's more valuable. So, I'll go to 15. This maybe stays tapped. I just have so many removal spells to hit. I want to try to get my opponent down to as close to 0 permanence as I can. I don't know. Ooh. Sure. That's not actually that scary. This is a sorcery. Yeah, I guess we can just kind of stare at each other for a minute until I find something better to do. Yeah, I'll just hold back my Death Toucher. That way my opponent can't attack with this. They'll play out an elf, I'll kill it. Oh, okay, main deck oof. That's fine. Alright, what are we looking at? Another land. At this point, do I start holding these for Brainstorm? Yeah, I start holding these for Brainstorm. Yeah, there's also a lot of bluff value here. This is also just something that can just kill an Allosaurus Shepherd if it gets into the red zone. Alright. I'll play 1. Alright, I think this is just going to be another turn of draw go. Okay, Baleful Strix is totally fine here. That means I can at least attack for 1 every turn. Alright, I really not a fan of this many lands. Yeah, I mean, I'll start attacking for 1. I have Witherbloom Command as some amount of drain for when things get a little bit closer to the finish line, but I'm not there yet. Alright, your Glimpse occurs. Ooh, that's pretty good. It's not that big of a deal for me, though. This combination, though, is pretty annoying. This is going to be kind of a turn where they go from, like, nothing to a decent amount of something. Alright, I guess let's just yield to those. Another Wirewood means I can pick stuff up again as well. Ew. Ooh, yeah, I might just die here. This is... Oh, yeah. I mean, obviously can't be countered. Yeah. Elves is too good versus blue decks. Concede. Alright, what do I have here? Witherbloom Command is, like, medium. I will probably play them, but as you saw in that specific match, it's not always a removal spell for a creature. Plague Engineer is fantastic. I love that. I like Force of Negation. I kind of like Narset. If I can defend it, it's quite good. I can't always defend it. Canonist is okay. Path is okay. Another Witherbloom Command is okay. Assume that Dress Down is not great. Like, it definitely does stuff. Like, it has effects. So, for example, like, playing it, removing the uncounterable clause on Allosaurus Shepherd, and then, like, counterspelling some other thing that's on the stack or something. Like, there's things that it can do. Just not sure how super relevant it is. I don't think this is a matchup where I need the life from the loam. I will probably go down a Paradox Zone, or maybe even 2. It's a little slow here. I need some number of win conditions. It's just, like, awkward because my opponent has Green Sun for Rex Sage as a thing that their deck just does. I don't know how blue decks are treating the Elves matchup post Allosaurus Shepherd in terms of counterspells. Like, the counterspells are still important, but they're frequently off. This super awkward position for me to be put in. Am I supposed to trim these? Am I supposed to not bring in the Force of Negation? Just, like, keep the Force of Will since their coverage is broader? I could see it. Also, maybe I don't play Path against this deck. Like, it's a removal spell, but it's a removal spell with the cost. Try something that looks like this. My mana doesn't really work here. Not really good with this. I mean, it's got a turn 3 Plague Engineer and maybe a turn 2 Prismatic Ending. This is fine. I'll pitch a Brainstorm here. And I very much know that I need this Ponder to hit land drops. No. Shuffle Library. Yes. Oh god. Alright, so that was looking at 4 cards with misses. That's fine. That can happen. This is the 5th card I've looked at. Make it 8 cards. Okay, I found lands. I'm not just immediately dead. That's good news here. I think I have a bunch of 1-for-1 effects in my hand. I don't think I want Force of Will. Oh, no, maybe that's not true. Like, I keep Force of Will, Strix. I'm happy with these cards. I'll put back 1 of Brainstorm and Prismatic Ending. Or rather, Swords of Plowshares and Prismatic Ending. Yes. So then I'll go ahead and just fetch. Has to grab white mana. Make it a Tundra. And I will just Prismatic Ending that away. It's an X2, so it would have lived through Plague Engineer. Now I have Force of Will for something just absolutely wild, and then I have Plague Engineer as a follow-up. Yep, that's fine. Okay, sure. Let's throw this thing into play. I'm not getting, like, immediate value out of it. Like, I'm saving 2 damage on my next turn. That's what I'm getting out of it. My opponent could, like, decay it or something, and then I will be sad because I don't get value out of this sweet card. But I think just for pure mana efficiency reasons, I just have to do it. Cradle. Okay, this is an Assassin's Trophy. That is counterable. And I will. Absolutely, we'll take that out of the way. Let's play the Strix. Oh, that needs to be the other one. This needs to be the black. Let's see what we get out of this. A Brainstorm. I don't want to play that immediately. Maybe that's not true. Fire that off. I'll just put 2 lands back. Make my land drop. I'll crash in with this. I'm not going to play around like a crop rotation for Dryad Arbor, I don't think. Alright, you've got your Glimpse turn. A lot of these things that they're going to play, though, won't live through the Plague Engineer. So they might just convert them to other cards. Or we can just have Infinite Nettle Sentinels. Like, I guess that's a thing that can occur as well. I guess they're 1/1s, though. Like, yeah. So they're just replacing Allosaurus Shepherd with another card here because of the Plague Engineer. Absolutely good with that. Start worrying about Natural Order. Okay, looks like that's going to be the end of my opponent's turn. Alright, so go like yeah for this Strix and just kind of see what my next card down is. Alright, I knew that, didn't I? Let's go land, and I'll just swing in for 1 here. I don't think I get to be cute and attack with the Plague Engineer and like accept a 2-for-1 trade at this point. My opponent's got 5 cards in hand. Some number of them might be 1-drops that are locked. Okay, yeah, that's no big deal. Like this is cute because like playing what is it, Berthler Rangers as a morph means that it's not a 1/1 elf that just dies to Plague Engineer. So that's cool. I guess I'll just hold back here. There's enough creatures now that I'm starting to be a little worried. Okay. So it's gonna be a Crater Hoof. I'll swords that. But I think I'm still dead. I haven't done math. These things all trample. Ooh. So I'm not dead. This is 21. Yeah, I can block some of this. Like, I'll junk one of these. I'll junk one of these. Junk one of these. Oh, I'm at 18, though. I mean, I guess my plays are obligatory here, then. This puts me to 1. Alright, yep. So, 2 lethal bodies, and I've drawn the Force of Will 1 turn too late here. GG's. Alright, final round opening hand here is okay. It has some problems in that, like, I don't have a fetch line for Life from the Loam, and I don't have white mana for Prismatic Ending and Swords to Plowshares yet, but generally speaking, I like the texture of the hand otherwise. Okay. Not Underground Sea, so we're not just immediately facing down Doomsday. An Esper Sentinel. Okay, so we're probably playing against a brew of some kind. Hey, a fetch land. That's quite good. I'm just going to play that card out. I don't think I am going to want to cast a Swords to Plowshares in this turn cycle. Like, I think I will attempt to just slow this game down a little bit. But, like, there's worlds where my opponent plays something annoying like a Stoneforge Mist. Oh, wow, just straight up not attacking? What are you playing around? Like, 1/1 Flash Fairy? I want to get this thing out of play. Accordingly, I'm just going to make a land drop and pass here. If my opponent's not going to attack with Esper Sentinel, I'm good with like this just sitting on the board and being a one-time Thalia attacks. Yeah, no end step shenanigans or anything. I don't know what's going on. How it attacks into like Icefang, Coatl, and friends. I'm gonna assume that my opponent just clicked through combat last turn then. I'm gonna take 1 damage here. Okay. So we'll see if we randomly get stifled or something crazy here. Why do I do this? Why do I fucking do this to myself? I brainstorm, my opponent draws a card. I have 5 hits. I really need this land. Alright. I'm not taking that much damage. I accept. Alright. I guess I'll just clog the board. Esper Sentinel is non-creatures, by the way, so I can just play a Strix here, draw a card, get my value that way. Fuck me. Alright. It occurs. On its deck is kind of wild. They need more pressure than a 1/1 Esper Sentinel. Like, this is not gonna get there long term. They need like a fucking True Name Nemesis or equivalent to like really clock me. I would love to just rip a white source. Apparently, preferably a non-fetch land white source at that. On white land. Hey! Yeah, so I'll just play that. I don't know how I'm supposed to play this. I think since I don't know a lot about my opponent's deck, I'm just gonna like opt to Swords to Plowshares, the Esper Sentinel at their end step. Oh, it's our first day on MTG. You'll probably mess up. This explains like skipping through their combat step. All right, makes sense. I'm also just like super excited to hear that like new people are getting into Legacy on Magic Online. That makes me very happy and warms my heart. I'll take the 1. I haven't like randomly gotten hit by a ninja or anything yet. So I'll cast the Swords to Plowshares. I'll pay the tax. All right, I've taken the Esper Sentinel off the board. At this point, I don't really know what I'm playing around. Let's cast the Life from the Loam. I have gotten a new fetch land. Guess I'll play it. Like, I do kind of want to brainstorm. I don't know, like, maybe I'm not supposed to play this because my opponent plays something like a Stoneforge Mystic and I have Underground Sea in play. I can just, like, fetch and dress down. Or not have to fetch in order to dress down, rather. I'm going to cast this card. I do not want to dredge that. Do not want to dredge that. I do not want to dredge that. I'll put back 2 of these. Probably just a fetch land and a blue land here. Am I fine with this being stifled? Yes, I am. Yeah, absolutely. Like, I'm sitting on Life from the Loam. Here's the cool thing about what I just did. So now for my draw step, I dredge the Life from the Loam, putting a bunch of lands into my graveyard, allowing me to better, like, fuel my future turns. Like, I'll grab C and 2 fetch lands here. Loam! Yeah. So now I'm back up to 7 cards in hand. A future Brainstorm is just absolutely nuts. Still don't quite know what my opponent is doing. Like, I wonder if it's a weird Stifle Knot Brew. I could buy that this is a weird Stifle Knot Brew. No dredge. Still found more land. Yeah. I feel very good about my position. So I have 5 lands, plus a lot of Brainstorm fodder. I have Hardcast Force of Will. I have Dress Down if my opponent has something like a Stoneforge Mystic. Otherwise, like, I'm sitting here making land drops when my opponent isn't. This situation is very much favoring me. Yeah. I will eventually cast a Paradox Zone, friend. What are you gonna do? You can absolutely ponder. Ooh, and that's a shuffle from my opponent. They have flooded hard. I will not dredge this. All right, I finally get my own ponder. Absolutely. Do I want wastelands? Not really. I do really want this brainstorm, though. I'll just say no to shuffling here. Yeah, I think I'll just play land and then do some conversions with a brainstorm. I don't think I want to like get one of these wastelands, though. I think I just shuffle this away right now and then use the brainstorm to shuffle away these 2 permanents. Not going to think too much about what land to get. I very much am in the territory where I have plenty of land. And, like, my colors are covered. Full Breacher. I want to use Force of Will or Dress Down here. Probably just Dress Down. And I'll answer it with Prismatic Ending. This also just, like, draws me a card. I cannot hardcast this Force of Will. I guess this is occurring. What did Force pitch over there? A Spell Pierce? Sure. Yeah, I mean, these are sorceries. I have no point of interaction here. Okay, I guess I can use Life from the Loam for this first replacement effect. Then I have to use Hull Breacher for that other one. I'll put 2 cards back. I'll just put 2 fetch lands back. We'll go Misty. I'll just fetch now to make, like, Spell Pierce plus Stifle less awkward. I'll grab, like, a Savannah to just have different things. Then let's go 1, 2, 3 different colors. And just send that out of here. Okay, cool. Do I want to cast a Loam? We got the mana. I will accept a draw 3. If my opponent, like, uses soft permission on it, I don't really care. Good stuff. Done a lot of damage by fetching, huh? My opponent's got something else here? Okay. You have another Hull Breacher? That's fine if you do. I don't have an immediate answer to it, but I have so many answers in the deck. Okay, they do have another Hull Breacher. If I don't hit anything on my turn, I can cast a Witherbloom command, like drain my opponent, and then try to look for an Uro from my graveyard by milling 3. And that's totally fine. Ooh, my opponent has an Underground Sea. I wonder if that's just for Prismatic Ending, though, or if they actually have black cards. That was no shuffle on the Ponder, so they have something that they like. Okay, at some point, I do have to stop drawing lands, right? Alright, so let's mill 3, drain 2. Guess I probably should have played a fetch to guarantee that I get some value off of this. Oop. Alright, come on, Uro. No Uro. Found more land, though. Alright, I guess I'll wasteland my opponent on their upkeep. Like, I've got Stifles to think about, so probably don't want to just do it immediately. Take them off black. Well, you know, kind of. Also, like, in Endurance would be real cool. Because, like, it beats Hull Breacher in combat. No dice, though. I'm not gonna just, like, dredge life from the loam looking purely for Uro. Kappa. Found it. Alright. Here is my Uro. The card draw here is not doing what I want it to do, obviously. So my opponent's going to cast a Source of Plowshares. I have Caracas in play. No, they're not going to do that. They definitely floated the mana for it. Oh, I want to dredge life from loam. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's better than giving them a treasure token. I'll put a land onto the battlefield. Okay, if I cast this Uro, I will only have 4 mana, so I can't back it up with a Force of Will. Do I care? Like, if I get another 9 life out of this Uro, is that good enough for that card? I don't think it is, honestly. I think I'll take a draw 3 here. Actually, I want to fetch first. Oddly, I want to see if I get stifled. Did not. Cool. This matters because of leaving up mana for Force of Will. I don't care about protecting his life from the loam, but I do care about something that my opponent might play. Like another Hull Breacher, for example, that just speeds up the clock. I'll take this hit for 3. Fine, I go to 8. I'm going to go back to 11. I'm going to have Force of Will to protect Uro. That's fine, I guess. I also do just have Caracas at the end of the day. I also could just, like, rip a removal spell or an Endurance or something and be in a good position that way. I'll let you shuffle. Also, by the way, there is so much gas in my deck right now. I have thinned almost all of the lands out of the deck. All right, I mean, what do you want me to say as far as comedic timing goes? All right, Uro, green, green, blue, blue, 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, I guess I should slightly care about what cards I click on. Because there's a world where, since my library is so low, I end up endurancing myself and putting some of these back. In which case, I don't really want Witherbloom. I don't really need the cantrips. I just want things that remove permanents. All right. I'll take my 3 life. Yeah, so I knew this was happening. Am I fine with using the Force of Will? Yes. So I still have Caracas to protect this if my opponent fights over the Force of Will. Okay, we are seeing movement from my opponent. Okay, yeah, so they do Force of Negation. That's fine. So now, I just bounce the Uro. Ooh, hoo, 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 hoo. Very nice. The second Swords of Plowshare fizzles. I gain another 3 life. Honestly, yeah, I mean, I guess this just puts more cards into my graveyard. Keeps my opponent from getting a treasure, sure. I'll put a Wasteland onto the battlefield. I will blow up your Tundra. I've made my land drop. Got another Uro in graveyard now. I'll take 3 damage here. My opponent has yet another Uro to worry about. They used so many resources getting rid of the first one. I'm back to 17. Uro's a fucked up Magic card. We don't say that enough anymore, because, like, there's other just absolutely insane things going on in the format. What card's good? A removal spell. Hey, hey, hey. That's pretty dope. Let's target Hull Breacher. Go black. How about white, blue? That's 3 colors. We'll absolutely pay the Esper Sentinel tax. Oh, Hull Breacher's gone. Uh-oh, opponent. Uh-oh. Green, green, blue, blue. 1, 2, 3. At this point, I'm just gonna like start getting rid of some of these flooded strands. Yeah. I don't even know if there's something left. I don't think this. I think this one's gonna fetch something. I don't think any of the others are gonna fetch anything. Let's just call it a turn here. I have enough to pay the tax on a removal spell on Esper Sentinel in the future. I don't know that I need to fire this card off immediately. You want to Wasteland Mycorrhizas? I will get it back with Life from the Loam. This has been a long game one, though. I don't expect future games to be this long, though, to be honest. Great. I feel very safe now. I think it is now hard to lose this game. Click done there. Dome my opponent for some damage. Just the first time, right? Yep. Cast a Ponder. Pay the tax there. Bricks and Brainstorm are fine. Brainstorm's in fact quite good. We'll pay 2 mana for the Strix. I'll play that, and then I'll go ahead and pass the turn here. This leaves a Force of Will up with a little bit of wiggle room. Murktide Regent. Makes sense. I'll just Force of Will that. I think that's absolutely an acceptable Force of Will. Pay the tax here. And just to get this out of the way so my opponent doesn't chump block with it, I'm going to go ahead and fire that off on Esper Sentinel. I have my opponent on a 2-turn clock here. I have so many lands in this deck. How is this possible? There's so many. No. I'm going to hit my opponent for 7. I think I'm fine showing them this card. It just more or less guarantees that I have the win next turn, even if something happens to Uro. Alright, good stuff. I have a Brainstorm that is really an Ancestral. Yeah, okay. Okay, so we are playing against Blue-White Hull Breacher Tempo. I like Path. I don't know how typical it's going to be that the games go that long. If the games do go that long, just having another something like a Paradox Zone is pretty cool. Carpet of Flowers is fine. Plague Engineers trade with some of my opponent's smaller creatures and can get Sentinels out of the way. That's fine. Jace and Narset have some utility. I'll think about them as well. That one Life from the Loam did an insane amount of work, though. Witherbloom Command can kill an Esper Sentinel, but otherwise does not do a lot in the matchup. I don't think I super want counterspells. Like, I don't know what I actually want to counterspell. Like, a Hull Breacher on a Brainstorm is kind of a kick in the nuts, but I don't know that it's worth it for me to try to fight that. Like, it's basically just Murktide Regent that I care about countering. How many answers to a Murktide Regent do I have? 4 Swords to Plowshares, 1 Path to Exile, kind of Paradox Zone. Maybe I need to keep a couple of forces in respect of Murktide Regent. Actually, I also just have Baleful Strix. Shit. How do I feel about Dress Downs? Medium. I have some cool lines where I like Dress Down to take a Hull Breacher ability off and then like actually draw some cards, but this all seems fine. Maybe I'm not supposed to play Jace because like brainstorming into the Hull Breacher deck is super awkward. I want to play a Force or 2. A couple of Paradox Zones is probably enough as far as win conditions go. Yeah, I'll buy that. Miser's Force of Will. This has 1 land. I'm not super in love with this hand. I'm going to keep it, though. Like I have land plus Ponder plus Uro plus like 2 different sources of card advantage. Force of Will for a Hull Breacher. I think it's good enough. I will probably concede this game pretty quickly if I start falling behind, though. Since game 1 took so long. I think I just have to like respect the clock at some point. Not sure what land to fetch first. I also don't get a lot of time to actually think about it. I think I just kind of have to fire off plays. If I start pulling ahead, and I'm pretty sure I can win. I'll slow down more. I'm just going to take a trop off this first one. Nope. All right, I've shuffled. I found another land. That's great. I have a Baleful Strix to pitch to force a will. Yeah, that's fine. All right, there's my land drop. I will try not to fetch immediately into Stifle. All right, we're going to sit and stare at each other for a while. We're going to sit and stare at each other for a while. I will put an Uro into my graveyard then. This temporary staring contest is going to favor my opponent for a little while, though, I think. They're making land drops and I'm not. This will reverse at some point. Alright, no land drop for me currently. I'll just discard one of these Paradox Zones. Ooh. Opponent has a Hull Breacher, presumably. Alright, there it is. So I will fetch. This needs to be white mana. I'll cast Swords to Plowshares, and then I will Force of Will, whatever counterspell protects this. There's a Daze. I'll be Force pitching a Baleful Strix, and I just want to try to keep the table clear. The other thing playing some stuff here does is allow me to clear my hand a bit. I am not going to Endurance for Paradox Zone. Like, Endurance pitch Paradox Zone immediately to play around Murktide Regent, I don't think. Alright. I get punished for not doing that. Alright. There is a Murktide. Try to hit some land drops. Basically Brainstorm locked myself here. While I know this Brainstorm is good, I'm just going to get a card deeper. Sure. I can potentially work towards Uro and just beat this. Alright, Esper Sentinel is fine. I'll answer that with a Prismatic Ending for 1. Make my land drop. Prismatic Ending that. Pay my tax. Spell Pierced? Get Spell Pierced. No. Prismatic Ending that the second time. So my next draw is a Paradox Zone, which is dead. So I'll have no play next turn. I'll be at 7. Yuck. That's super bad for me. So I need my card under this Paradox Zone to be quite good. Yeah, so there's the Paradox Zone I know about. Okay, so that's going to be a lethal threat here. My opponent just gets to attack me for 8. I'm going to just go ahead and have them do it here, because my life total matters. Or not my life total, my opponent's clock matters. Like, every second might count here. We're both pretty low on clock going into this next game. I know about Brazen Borrower, that's about the only change. Opponent might have enough threats that Narset is just not good enough. I'm going to play one more Force of Will here for this next game, I think. Also possible that I should just, like, junk these Witherbloom commands. They don't feel great. Okay, I've kept my opening hand here. I'm going to do something a little weird with my sequencing where I'm just going to pull a fetchable land out of my deck immediately. So I'm just going to, like, go and grab a Trop and Ponder immediately. While that land is not exposed to a Stifle. I am good with these cards. No need to shuffle here. I've got turn 2 Strix or Life from the Loam. I have turn 2 Prismatic Ending if that's something that I need to do. I've got good tools available to me. Alright, that's just going to be a cantrip then, that's fine. In the face of a cantrip, I'll just go Strix pass. Alright, land Strix go. There's going to be a lot more F6ing of my opponent's turns when I can. I should actually probably remove this upkeep stop. Yeah, sure, that's fine. Do slightly suboptimal sequencing. Definitely in a seconds matter sort of situation. Yeah, you can pierce me, you can daze me, whatever. Yep. I'm hoping this resolves so that I can play Endurance next turn. Nice. Take 1. So they're in a situation where I have a lot of threats covered pretty easily, and soft mana denial is not going to do much against me. Yeah, I'm good with this situation. I'll plan on killing Esper Sentinel in combat with an Endurance. I have Swords to Plowshares for Murktide Regent if my opponent finds one. And I'm coming out ahead on clock. The only annoying thing is that I'm going to have to, like, start clicking through my life from the loam for every draw. which I don't like. All right. Land, attack with Strix. So I didn't have a upkeep stop set. It's fine. I'll cast Endurance and then nuke my opponent's graveyard, meaning they can't do a follow-up Murktide Regent. Okay, nice. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely just good with the amount of life that I gain there. I'll happily take one from Esper Sentinel. I just feel safe. So this puts me back to 21. I've also gained about a minute in clock. Yup. Junk that. I'll trade the point of damage for the point of damage here. Won't use Brainstorm. I'll hold that so I can pitch to Force of Will if necessary. Yeah, that's fine. I'll take one. And I'll just Prismatic Ending this away, clear the board. Yep. Ending you. Pay the tax. Yes. End in for one. Next turn, I'll attempt a Life from the Loam after a fetch. I have Force of Will to make things better if my opponent tries to disrupt me. That was a bottom. That's fine. No replacement effect. We'll just take the draw. Okay, yeah, this is very good. So let's go land. Ponder. Yes, this stuff's all fine. Nope. Actually, maybe I just want to fetch now. Not thinking about it too much. Play around Stifle. I'm very obviously in turbo mode, right? Like, I can't sit here and super think about these decisions, but I think I'm very far ahead. Like, I'll just take these draw steps. Play an Uro. Win eventually. Like, with Force of Will here, and with Life from the Loam to fix my colors as soon as I need to fix my colors, I think I'm just good. My opponent can stifle my Uro trigger and just make it so that they die sooner. Sure. I am fine with them using a stifle in that way. I would have stifled the other trigger and brought on my own death sooner, but like I respect what they're doing. Okay, they've got another land. This puts them on a new color. That gets Tundra. My Life from the Loam is going to be very good now. So this is a Murktide. I have two Swords to Plowshares to answer this. This is just a very good Force of Will. I don't care if it gets dazed. Dredge Life from the Loam, Cast Life from the Loam, Wasteland, Savannah, Trop. Green, some other color that's not green. Wasteland. Fired off on Tundra. Go, little bird. My position is very strong here. This time it can be a basic so my opponent doesn't just immediately get wastelanded. But yeah, now like the card quality difference between our decks is going to be apparent. Alright, it's Uro time. I don't need Life from the Loam again. I will put a land onto the battlefield. I don't need to kill Esper Sentinel this turn. Attack for 1. This puts my opponent to 8. Next turn, I will get rid of Esper Sentinel, attack them for 7. Feel like I've pretty much got this one locked up, because I've got like Murktides and stuff covered as well. And I don't care about a Swords of Plowshares, because I just have Uro. No. And you know what? If my opponent wants to chump block, I'll let him chump block. My position's very good. Petty Theft, sure, that's fine. At this point, let me just remove this. I can just like take that off my intellectual load of things to be thinking about. Goodbye. Redeploy an Uro. Take the life. No. Yes. Alright, good stuff. Crash in for 1. I might just kill with this Baleful Strix before I actually just connect with Uro. Oh, okay, so just Island. You'll have a Brazen Borrower that you can start attacking with. This Hull Breacher is also technically a thing that can happen, but I don't really care. I'll just fetch prior to doing anything else. See if my opponent wants to use mana on a Stifle. Like, no. Alright. Here's an Uro holding up Swords to Plowshares as well as Baleful Strix. Swords to Plowshares this. What a beating. I'll take 3 more life. No. I'll put in Caracas, lol. Play another Baleful Strix. Stop it! Stop it! They're already dead! Alright, so that's down to 10. They take 8 damage next turn. This is pretty gross. All right, we have gotten the GGs from the opponent. Game 1 was a slog. Enjoyed that a lot. All right, and there's our beautiful, beautiful 3-2 to round things off. Overall thoughts on the deck list. While Paradox Zone did not come up in every round, holy hell, when that card got going, it was disgusting. So it's the sort of card that some of these decks have close to 0 answers to, because it's going to dodge things like Abrupt Decay, it's going to dodge things like Prismatic Ending, it's going to dodge things like Witherbloom Command. It does a good job of being a sticky threat in a way that something like Klothys or Keranos might have done previously. This card might be the real deal. If you are a blue mid-range or control player, maybe consider throwing one of these in the sideboard for some of the really slow, grindy matches. This thing was super impressive once it got going. And like we had multiple times where we just stuck one and my opponent just immediately conceded or conceded after one turn cycle, realizing they just can't beat it. It very much has like Field of the Dead energy in terms of its inevitability. Now, do you actually want to be playing 4 in the 75? No, maybe not. But did we board that 4th one in multiple rounds? You bet your ass we did. This was a lot of fun. I would not be surprised to see a few more Paradox Zones on Magic Online in the coming weeks. And I very much like the shell that I put together for this. Hey, if you made it this far in the video through all those grindy matches, throw me a like on the way out if you haven't already. And if you haven't followed, please consider doing so. It's one of those things that helps me out more than you know. If you end up wanting to mess around with this or get one of your own decks on the channel, that information is available in the video description. Have a great rest of the day, folks. See ya!